Hi, everyone. It's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about Christmas. Christmas never changes, except it kind of does. For me, recording this, it's the day after Thanksgiving here in the United States. So I'm full of ham, not turkey. I don't like turkey. I never really liked turkey. I thought it was dry and kind of tasted off. But a few years ago, I miscooked the turkey and I got food poisoning. And I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't even like this meat. So now I make ham. I make a lot of ham and I eat the ham and I love ham. For you watching though, this is December 24th. So many of you, not all of you, but many of you are going to be doing Christmas tomorrow. And I will be too. But it's different for me now. Christmas has changed for me many times over the years. One of the biggest changes is I don't have my mom anymore. And no mom for me means kind of not much Christmassy stuff. My mom was really into Christmas. She liked the secular parts of Christmas, the gifts, the family, the food, just the getting together. She loved lights. So we had lots of decorations. It looked very religious, but it wasn't very religious. And I like that. To me, that was Christmas for me. That was the one time of the year that you were almost guaranteed to see all your brothers and sisters, probably on the same day, almost certainly on the same day, along with all the nieces and nephews and now grandnieces and grandnephews. But guess what? Everything changes. Well, maybe except war. But, I mean, look at my office. This is totally different, and it's been different now for weeks. Frequently I'm asked on this channel, I get asked in different ways, but I get asked the same thing. I'm asked if I regret anything, and I've said I don't. And then I get a lot of pushback on that. They're like, really, you liked everything the way everything happened and you don't have anything that you'd ever want to change? And I'm like, would I change anything? And it's very tempting to say, yeah, there's a lot of things I would like change. There's a lot of things that happened that weren't very comfortable or pleasant or nice. But let's examine a few of them. Like, what if I had stayed at Interplay and finished up Fallout 2? It would have been a different game. For some of you, maybe it would have been a worse game. Some of you might think it'd be a lot better. But then the real question is, would that in any way have stopped Interplay's downfall, which was already kind of written on the wall when I left? And I think no. I don't think anything I could have done would have stopped Interplay on the trajectory it was at. So things still would have gone away and Fallout probably still would have been sold and Bethesda probably still would have bought it. But there wouldn't have been a Troika. Because if I had stayed at Interplay, I wouldn't have started Troika. You wouldn't have gotten Arcanum and Temple and Vampire Bloodlines. And for many of you, at least one of those is something you really cared about. Maybe a couple of them, maybe all of them. So I don't think you'd want to live in the timeline that didn't have those games. And I have been asked multiple times, well, what about Carbine? Would you have, if you could go back in time, would you skip Carbine? Because Carbine was pretty traumatic for me. It was some of the only time in my career where I encountered people who weren't trying to make a good game. They were trying to make sure their career went well. And they would do anything and everything to make sure that they advanced. But here's the thing. I also met at Carbine some of the best game developers I would ever meet. Brilliant programmers, incredible artists, really cool designers. These are some of the best developers I would ever have in my career. So would I want to give that up just to avoid some trauma, which made me understand myself a lot better afterwards? I mean, remember, after I left Carbine, I said I was not a game director. I refused game director positions for years. So yeah, I don't know if I would give that up. But it would also mean maybe I wouldn't have gone to Obsidian. I might never have worked on a console game. The very first console game that I ever made was South Park: The Stick of Truth. Up until then, all my games were PC and with one Mac conversion made by someone else on the team, Tim Hume, for Fallout. But that meant if I'd gone to Obsidian, I may never have made a console game. I may never have worked on South Park. I may never have made a Kickstarter game. Pillars of Eternity was the first Kickstarter game that Obsidian made the first one that I was ever involved with. And that's a big deal to me. I may have never made Outer Worlds, and Outer Worlds may very well be the last IP I ever make. I don't know. I don't. I'm not sure. In fact, who knows? But I certainly wouldn't want it not to have been made. I'm proud of it. I like it. These are things that when people go, well, don't you wish things had gone differently? You are inherently asking me, well, possibly would you want to erase all that stuff? And I don't. I don't want to erase it. Which brings me to the whole point of this, which is change. Change happens. Change happens. I think young people sometimes forget this. They think how they are thinking now, even if they don't like the way the world is, they think the way they're thinking is the way they will always think. I will never change. I think all the right things and the world is wrong on some stuff and I'll fix the world and then everything will be great. No. I think Sinead O'Connor said it best, and I wrote down her lyric. She sang in her song Troy, "We were so young then, we thought that everything we could possibly do was right." There's an age where you literally think you've got it all figured out. You have the correct moral and ethical and thoughtful stance on everything, and you will never be proven wrong, and you were so absolutely incorrect. But you can't be convinced of it. Many of you, you're at a certain stage where you can't be convinced this will happen. You think the way you think is the way you will always be. Let me warn you, you will turn into older people that you know well who are mad that things have changed. These are older people that start every conversation was, in my day, people did this, people said that, and it was the best way. And I'm like, ugh. I remember being young thinking, I'm never going to be like that. I don't think I will be. There are things that I think used to be done better. There's a whole bunch of things I think used to be worse. And I like change. And I know you can quote me on this. Does change frighten me? It sure does. Does it confuse me? Much of the time. But I also embrace it because change has been responsible for so many good things in my life that I would not give up. I'll take that bad but I'm not going to give up this good. And even Christmas. Forget what I said at the beginning. Christmas has changed for me. Like I said, my mom isn't around anymore, and that's a huge change in how I think about Christmas and what Christmas means to me. But also, I have a family I was born into, but I also have a family I've chosen. And these are different groups of people, and I've lost members of both. I'm getting to the age where I'm losing family members and I'm losing friends, and that's not good. And I don't want that. But I also understand, guess what? That's life. That's how things go. So whatever you do for the holidays, you may not be doing Christmas. You may be doing something entirely else. Enjoy them, but also accept all the changes that come. But one last thing. For me, something that has never changed is this Santa mug. My grandmother made this. My grandmother made a lot of ceramics, some of which I have, many of which my brothers and sisters have, and we cherish them because my grandmother Gladys made these in her basement ceramic studio. And thanks to my mom, who I've mentioned multiple times, keeps almost everything. Thanks to her, I have this mug. This mug sat in a box at my mom's house, and then in her apartment, and then her new house, and then I got it, and it's been at my house down here, my house up in Washington, and then back here in SoCal. So I love that I have this. I always will love my mom for keeping things like that, and just for so many other things she did. And maybe that's one thing that will never change.